This is the WHTC Morning News with Gary Stevens and Peg McNichol on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to the WHTC Morning News for this Tuesday, June 29th. I'm Gary Stevens. Tuesday mornings, we have a chance to catch up with what is going on in Washington with one of the two men who represent the Lakeshore in the U.S. House. He is U.S. House Representative Fred Upton of St. Joseph. He joins us via the Zoom connection this morning. Fred, good morning. Hope all is well over in D.C.
It's hot here, let me tell you. It's 100 degrees today. It's I don't know. I got my sunglasses, but it's gonna be a hot sucker.
Now, I'll tell you, some of your colleagues from the Pacific Northwest are saying, this is cool compared to what's going on up there. But around here, with heat indices in the 90s, it's going to be a little bit. Used to use the term close. Used to be close. It's very. You don't hear that often, but I was thinking of that over the weekend. It's just the muggers are out. Yeesh. Anyway, we can talk about the weather, but let's talk about some things going on in Washington. First of all, looks as if that infrastructure package might get done, although it might be done a little piecemeal, where some of it goes directly, another one goes to reconciliation. Some are saying the Biden administration is going to get what it wants anyway. Others are saying not so fast. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a little bit too early to tell, but Biden's proposal was many trillions of dollars. Would have been. It would be very difficult to see it pass. It would only be with Democratic votes. He undoes the Trump tax credits, which rightly so really propelled our economy forward a number of years ago. And there wouldn't be, as Mitch McConnell said, there wouldn't be a single Republican vote in the House or the Senate that would support that. So what's happened is the Problem Solvers Caucus, working with our Senate colleagues, a bipartisan group over there, really came up and unveiled a $1.2 trillion proposal last week. Very close to where the Problem Solvers Caucus, we've talked about this before. I'm one of the vice chairs, 58 members, almost a dead-on number in terms of what we had. We've got some meetings today and tomorrow, see where we are. The White House, I think, made a false step last week when they said, well, these two are going to be connected. In essence, two packages that were going to total the entire sum of what Biden proposed, the president proposed, nearly $4 trillion. And Pelosi and the president said, well, we're not going to move one without the other. Well, you know what? That just would be very difficult to see happen. So what we're trying to do is focus our effort on really what's traditionally bricks and mortar: highways, roads, bridges, ports, broadband, and the resilience, better resilience on our electric grid, whether they be pipelines or electric. And when you do that, our number is 1.2 trillion. And that's where we are. And I've got a meeting with some of the White House folks today to talk about the Republicans on this. And I am hopeful that this will play out the way that we want it to. And if the president wants the rest of his package to get done, he's not going to be able to do it with this package at all. And we'll see how that plays out. But I know that there's a lot of concerns about the debt and the deficit. Shouldn't this go the regular order on appropriation bills with this regular budget? So that second version has got a lot. It's a long road to get to the finish line.
I'm going to preface this next story with news that we have, and I don't have the copy in front of me. It's a story out of Peter Meyer's district with the fact that there's a deal that might be in place to get some of the landowners in the Cascade Township area near Ford Airport onto municipal water instead of well water because of PFAS in the situation. And it'd be a mix of funding of that. The airport would have to pay a little bit along those lines. But you and your colleague from Dearborn, Debbie Dingle, have been working on PFAS, and the PFAS Action Act apparently is moving along very well.
Well, it is. PFAS, most people, still a lot of people, have never heard of PFAS, but it's a real contaminant. Of course, we know a little bit more about it here in Michigan than just about any place else, but it was used as a fire retardant, still is. It's in a lot of different substances. And unfortunately, when it gets in the groundwater, it is really bad. And we, for a couple of years now, have tried to encourage the EPA to tell us what is the right standard. What should this be? And of course, in my district, in Parchment, right outside of Kalamazoo, a few years ago, we discovered that the PFAS levels were literally about 1,000 times higher than they should be. And immediately, that day, folks went door to door to tell people in Parchment that they could not use the water for ice cubes, for coffee, for cooking. Don't even water your plants or let your dogs and cats and other household pets use that water. It needed to be bottled. And it was for months. People lined up at churches and schools to get bottled water until they were able to convert the Parchment water system into the Kalamazoo. We were really lucky. Literally across the street, a new pipe had to be made and connected. But this is a bad situation. And so what we're trying to do is try to encourage EPA to tell us what the safe standard is and make sure that the resources are there for all communities, not only to test it, but to make sure that this is not a substance that's in their water supply. I'm not aware of the issue with Peter Meyer's district. I'll find him a little bit later this morning and talk to him about it, see what we can do to help. I expect that the PFAS bill that we passed with some Republicans, with most of the Democrats, voting for this to be on the House floor this next month in July.
We're talking with U.S. House Representative Fred Upton. A couple of issues involving another federal agency that has been dragging its feet, the Small Business Administration. Some are saying that the help that had already been approved by Congress for the hospitality industry has been a little slow. And Paycheck Protection Program loan forgiveness, another aspect, and something you're close to, a little bit another foot dragging situation involving the SBA.
Well, this has got to stop. Congress acted well more than a year ago on not only the PPP program, Paycheck Protection. It was bipartisan, over 400 votes. We're hearing a lot from restaurants and the entertainment industry. You talk about theaters and stages and that type of thing, and the regs to unload some of this money that we approved, and not only President Trump, but President Biden supports the funding for this, hasn't gotten out the door. I got some calls earlier this week, in fact, about businesses that need it this week if they're going to survive. We got to get this thing done. And in fact, even last night on the House floor, one of my colleagues came up with me. I brought it in this morning to work with my staff. HR 3807, Restaurant Revitalization Fund Replenishment Act. We funded it. The money, the regs haven't been written. This has got to change. Now we've got to provide these lifelines, particularly to our small businesses, if they're going to stay in business and create the jobs that we want them to do, let alone the services that the customers, us, want to see them do.
One final thing, Fred. The fine line between helping those who have been put out of work because of the COVID-19 outbreak and helping businesses get employees back. There's a fine line about helping and hurting, and that line may have been crossed and is being crossed. You're trying to work on a way to, maybe prod those who are out of work into work and start filling up some of these help wanted situations. Right now, some businesses can't open because they don't have enough people to work.
That is the case all over our state and in many places across the country. The bonus, the unemployment bonus that was in the last package that President Biden signed provides another $300 a week through the Labor Day. That is part of the incentive, I think, for people that not wanting to go back to work. You have restaurants that are closing for whole days. They are having trouble finding workers. They've raised their pay. I sat down with a number of businesses in Kalamazoo not too long ago, and I'm reaching out again to see what their employment levels are, but they're missing, these are, some of the jobs are more than $20 an hour with virtually no skill. You just need to show up and learn the skill, and they need you. And it's impacting the supply chain for businesses large and small, not only across our state, but across the country. And in fact, some of our businesses are in Michigan are even contemplating moving out because they can't find the workforce to try and get there. So I know that a number of states, more than 20, have announced that they're going to end this unemployment bonus. I believe that both the State House and the State Senate here in Michigan have voted to end that program. I think the bill is going to the governor's desk. I don't know what she's going to do about it. And I know that President Biden has said he's ready for this program to expire, that he doesn't necessarily want to see it renewed when it does expire a little bit later this summer. So it is a real crunch time for employers, all different levels, of trying to find workers, knowing that they've increased the wages. You can't drive anywhere without seeing those help wanted signs, whether it be on a marquee or a yard sign in front.
He is Congressman Fred Upton. He joins us Tuesday mornings to talk about things going on in Washington. Fred, we wish you well this week. I'm not certain about next Tuesday because of the holiday. Hopefully we can chat. We'll know more. But if you not be able to join us next week, hey, we'll do this again in a couple of weeks. Let's see if we can chat next week.
Okay, great. Sounds good to me.
Thank you very much, Fred Upton, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.